elected. It's been a bit nuts, spoilers. A little bit about how I got to get elected, and then a little bit about what we have in store over the coming months. So put your seatbelts on and strap in, because it's going to be a bumpy ride. Picture this. 12th of December, I'm knackered. It's been a really long election day. It was raining. I had my third change of clothes. 1:30 in the morning, my campaign manager rings me up and says, right, it's time for you to have a shower, put your suit on and come down to the count. Okay, here we go. Put your candidate face on, step out of the car. I'm just going to check my emails. 6 unread emails across all of my inboxes. I thought, that's fine. I'll do those tomorrow. Came out of the count at 5:30 in the morning. I'd won. Yeah. I had 200 unread emails. And I thought, flipping it, it's going to take me all weekend to clear these. Like Saturday morning, 10 a.m, there I am, keen bean in Parliament, because you can go in from 10 o'clock on a Saturday. They give you a rucksack. It's got a little brown tag on it with your name, like your Paddington Bear. It's really weird. And you get a little rucksack with your name on it. And you open up your parliamentary laptop, and I opened up my email account on Monday morning. 9 o'clock I opened it up. 3,000 unread emails. No staff, no office, and quite frankly, no clue. Anyway, so all those lovely volunteers, and I'm telling you this as a warning, all those lovely volunteers who were bathing in the glory of having won St Albans, who were all off to do their Christmas shopping, I was back on the phone. I need you back. I need you to help me run a surgery this weekend. I need to get the counsellors in to help with the casework. Somebody needs to set me up in office, etc., etc., etc. And so suddenly you're running at 1,000,000 miles an hour. So whilst the election stops for everybody else, you are suddenly having to go into a whole new stratosphere of being busy. Anyway, in my first few days, I got some emails from people saying, this was the first time I ever voted Liberal Democrat, and I'm not sure if I made the right decision. I'm thinking, blimey, I've only been an MP for 3 days and you're already going to vote for somebody else. Right, I better show them, right? So I thought, right, first 100 days, I'm going to meet 100 organisations. Crazy idea, don't do it. So I made a long list and loads of organisations contacted me. We want to be one of your first 100, we want to be one of your first 100. So I started meeting 4 and 5 and 10 and 15 and 20 and 25 every single week whilst I still had no clue what I was doing. I was press releasing how many organisations I had met, and I was on course, and my husband said, Daisy, you're so tired. When are you going to take some time off? I said, love, we get to 100 days and we'll go to Suffolk for the weekend. We'll go to a field, we'll have a few drinks with family and watch a live band, it'll be great, it'll be fine. Day 98, full lockdown. And it got a bit busier. So the casework went up 6-fold. And the first few emails we had in lockdown were people stuck in countries all around the world. I'm really getting in the way, aren't I? I'm going to ruin these desserts. People stuck all around the world without money or medicine. Literally, constituents in the middle of the jungle for 2 weeks hadn't read the news, suddenly reappeared and couldn't get a flight back home. Somebody else who had run out of their medication, stuck in a hospital in the middle of Thailand with dead animals on the floor, almost dying of COVID, wanting to know how they could get home. My team worked literally around the clock across many different time zones to get 50 constituents home. Then we had people worried that loved ones were dying, then we had businesses that were collapsing. This was even before furlough had been sort of properly announced or even designed. Anyway, it went on and on and on. Anyway, it came up for air finally earlier this year in March after the third lockdown and things started to calm down a little bit. Anyway, it was very hard being a politician during the lockdown because people were scared. People were really, really scared, and they didn't want to hear about partisan politics. What they wanted to know was that we were doing the right thing in the national interest. So it was very hard to pick apart what the Tories were doing, and believe you me, we were furious behind the scenes. We were angry because we could see all the disasters, all the mistakes they were making, but we didn't want to tell people that they weren't doing anything about care homes because people were scared. So there was a lot of stuff that we were trying to get out there that nobody wanted to know. Anyway, we got to the local elections this year, and I'm going to tell you, the local elections this year across the country wasn't as good as we had hoped, but there's only one thing we can learn from the local elections this year, and that is if your party leader is on the telly at 5 p.m. every single day, people are going to vote for them. Yes, that's it. They voted Tory in England, they voted Labour in Wales, they voted SNP in Scotland. That's all we can take from the local elections. May. But then came along in June. And by the local elections, I'll be honest with you, I was thinking, why is it that I think Boris Johnson is such a joker? He's such a disaster. Why can't anybody else see it? Why can't anybody else see it? Where are the people who think the same like me? Turns out they live in Cheshire and Amersham.
Yay!
So we went to Cheshire and Amersham and we found loads of people who really couldn't stand Boris Johnson and couldn't stand his government. And the Tories tried to make out that it was a referendum on HS2. HS2 was one of the issues, and it was a very important issue, particularly for some of the villagers. But overall, people just said to us, they take us for granted. They never knock on our door, they never ask us what we think, they're launching all these things, they don't tell us that it's happening. When I came to HS2, there's lorries at the end of my road, my house is shaking at 5 in the morning, and I don't even know why. There's absolutely no communication. And what happened in Cheshire and Amersham was not only that we won, we also proved nationally that Boris Johnson can be beaten. And that is so important because a lot of Tories don't like Boris Johnson, but they're hanging on to him because they think he's a winner. And we showed in Cheshire and Amersham that he can be beaten. If some of you go to North Shropshire, we have a chance there of showing that he can be beaten. And in our local elections here and everywhere else across the country in May, we can show that Johnson and his Conservatives can be beaten. So let's have a round of applause for that. So St Albans is a blue wall seat. We were a blue wall seat before the concept of the blue wall was even created. So I like to think that we were blue wall before it was cool to be blue wall. But we won St Albans through sheer hard graft. It took us 3.5 years of hard work to win St Albans, because elections don't win themselves. You can't just wait until someone calls an election and suddenly think you can win. You have to start the hard work now. In St Albans, say, it took us 3.5 years. We started bit by bit. There are 3 things that matter. 1, your messenger. Messenger matters. You need to have somebody who is full of charisma and enthusiasm, who will inspire people to action. That really matters. The messages are important. And just from this afternoon, I can tell you guys have got some great messages. You talk up your town. That's fantastic. I love it, civic pride. You talk up your town, which is fantastic. You take real pride in the work that you're doing. You declared a climate emergency. You're building social homes. You're investing in community facilities. These are fantastic achievements. And wouldn't it be wonderful if you could translate that into Parliament and have somebody fighting your corner in the halls of power in Westminster? That would be fantastic. And the third thing you need, apart from a messenger and messages, is a machine. And this is where you guys come in, because you collectively are the machine. To be precise, you're part of the machine. Because if you want to win, you're going to need a lot more than this. So in St Albans, we set about building our team. I think the first time I went out canvassing, there was about 4 or 5 of us. By 2019, we had scores of people going out day after day after day. And I can tell you, I don't know how many door knocking attempts you do here, but in 2017, in the whole of the calendar year, we knocked on more than 100,000 door knocking attempts in 2017. That's when I came second. In 2019, when we won, we did 167,000 door knocking attempts across the whole of the calendar year. 60,000 of those were during the 6-week general election period. If you don't have the shoe leather, get some spare shoes, or those massive hamburger slippers that are up in the raffle later on, because you're going to need them. So we spent a lot of time building machines, but we had to build. We had to get more data, we had to speak to more people, we had to raise money, and that hard work starts now. Please, if you want a Liberal Democrat MP representing this seat, you cannot wait until the general election is called. I need each and every one of you to think tonight about what it is that you're prepared to do. Whether it's time, whether it's money, whether it's skills, whether it's your network, whether you can open up your front room to bring in people who don't normally vote Liberal Democrat, whatever it is you can do, please just reflect on that tonight and make that commitment in your mind that you are going to get involved and do something. Let me talk about the future. So we have the blue wall. Blue wall concept is so important for us because it gives us a way into the story every time anyone talks about the red wall. And in many respects, I think it's actually easier to win some of the blue wall seats. Because the red wall seat will be about delivery and the differences between the two big parties. In the blue wall seat, I sense that it's about values. There are lots of people, lots of really decent people who are traditional Conservative voters, who are internationalists, they're environmentalists, they are pro-business, they are pro-public service, and they've suddenly realised, guess what? These are our values. These are liberal values, and they feel closer to our values than the values of Boris Johnson and his Conservatives. Because quite frankly, we've seen in the last 3 weeks that they have no values at all. So we've got a lot of seats that we need to win, we need to build a lot of machines, and we need to prove time and time again that we can win and that Boris Johnson can be beaten. So please, all of you, make that commitment tonight, and I look forward to coming back next time with my shoe leather to knock on some doors and help you guys elect me to MP. Thank you.